into it. We're back after a little bit of a break for another episode of the Aviation Growth Podcast. I'm here with Steve Tubbs.
Hello,
Steve,
hello.
How are you doing?
Great, man. Good to see you. Good to be with you.
Yeah, it's awesome. Hopefully I make it through this without coughing up a lung or hacking on you, but we'll do our best.
Right.
Anyway, Steve is with X1FBO. I've been on the podcast before.
Yeah, nice to be back.
Yeah, we've talked plenty about X1's technology and some of the stuff that you're doing, but maybe you could start off with just like a quick intro into yourself and X1FBO so everybody knows what we're talking about today.
Sure. Again, man, good to be here. Always good to see you. For those that don't know, X1FBO is, well, first off, I'm Steve. I'm Senior Vice President for X1. X1FBO is basically a software that we put on top of an FBO, right? It's everything an FBO will need to run the ramp, the desk, the back-end finances in a modern, technologically efficient manner, right? From accepting the requests from inbound aircraft to all the way through to payment. And making sure that everything is squared away in a technologically forward fashion.
Okay.
Right?
Cool.
It's as simple as that.
Yeah. And I know we've talked about kind of, for a long time, there hasn't necessarily been new players in this space. And you guys have been making a big push to bring new technology into the FBO space. Tell me a little bit about some of the benefits and like maybe some of the problems that you guys are seeing and how you're approaching attacking those problems with technology.
Yeah, sure, man. We've talked about this a lot in our past and even on the previous podcast, but it's always been kind of crazy that our industry supports, up to $70 million aircraft with technologically inefficient processes where we catch these birds, whether it's from a maintenance perspective or an FBO perspective. There's too much paper involved in the processes. There's too much room for error. It's the 21st century now. I think and at large, we should be leveraging technology that is production proven in other industries even.
Yeah.
And putting that better way of doing business into the hands of the people that are supporting our operators within business aviation. And so that's kind of the focus, right? How do we get better? How do we streamline the information? And how do we turn all of this data that's all over the place? That's what we're finding a lot of. There's a lot of data that's not information, right? So how do we take that and turn it into information in real time for our FBOs?
Right.
And it's almost a back to basics approach with, a technological mindset front of mind, if you will, right? So role-focused development is how you do it, right? You look at the guys on the ramp. They're catching the birds. They're the catcher's mitt, essentially. What do they need to be effective on the ramp? How do they get that information back to the desk without using the radios? How do we arm them with the information to receive that aircraft with white glove level service that those VIPs expect, right? So if we start focusing on those core principles that those operators need on the ramp to feel good about where they are, then we're able to put a really good solution in the hands of that person.
Sure.
Right. Then we start looking at the desk inside. What does that individual need? How do we ensure that human being is able to look at that pilot in the eye when they're trying to work out business instead of the top of their head? Well, that person's putting too much data into an archaic and old system. You do it again with production proven technology. Then what's next? Okay, the accounting folks, they got to make sure that everything's reconciling and everything's good to go. So, all right, let's make sure that all of that happens. Let's give them the tools that they need. And then our engineers make sure that they're bridging the gaps between all of those sort of silos within the organization.
Sure. Yeah, I know. And we've talked quite a bit on this podcast about, the labor shortage in our industry. And usually it's focused on the pilots, and then we've talked about mechanics, but the FBO is such a critical piece of this whole ecosystem in business aviation, right? And so if there's not people that are out on the ramp receiving these aircraft, or there's not enough people to, to greet everybody inside of these locations, it's a problem, right? And you won't be able to accept the number of aircraft and the demand that's out there. And so, how does technology play into that shortage? And how are you guys looking at like the people and making them more efficient with the tools that they have?
Better tools, right? Simple, right? But to your point, the labor shortage is real. We hear it from our customers all the time that they're having a hard time keeping staff. And one of the, you get young personnel coming in to work the desk or to work the ramp. They don't want a solution that was built in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like that might have been a great solution back then, but it's not anymore. Bottom line, like that's not, I'm not trying to be unfriendly with that statement, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it just is what it is. They walk in, they want to be able to learn how to use the system their organization is expecting them to use, and they want to do it quickly. And with X1, we find that regularly. We put it in front of somebody, we say, create a request. They go, okay, and they knock it out. With alternate solutions out there, it takes them months of training. And usually there's a specific person within the network or the individual FBO who's responsible for a training program. It doesn't have to be that way anymore. Nobody taught you how to use your iPhone. You figured it out. Nobody taught you how to use your banking software. You figured it out.
Yeah.
Right. It should be that way for us too.
Sure.
So to accommodate for sort of that labor shortage, you got to give them tools that make them effective in real time.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk about today is, you guys have been growing over the last few years. There's a lot of buzz out there. I've seen you at a lot of the events at Schedulers and Dispatchers at Base this last year, but you guys actually decided to create your own event that is now FBO and technology focused.
Right.
Tell me a little bit about that and what's on deck for that.
So yeah, X1 Approach, FBO and User Conference, right, in Miami in early April. So what we wanted to do was have an FBO-centric event where we bring the community together. So we're inviting all of our current customers, any prospects that are evaluating our solution. There's going to be industry partners down there. We're going to have sessions that focus on how to leverage X1 better. Right? How do you squeeze out a little more here? How do you make the most out of that dollar? How do you better do your fuel management? All of the different things.
Right.
We want to show all of our users and prospects the vast array of tools that we have and that are essentially at their disposal. Right.
Right. I know that. Yeah. Just to interrupt you real quick, I know that we've talked a lot about like you guys have said like, you go and visit an FBO, they're always like doing something slightly different.
Right.
Right. But as you've gone through this process, you're now seeing that, all right, there might be slight differences, but in general, people are doing things, pretty similarly.
No, yeah, like there's a common thread at the heart and the core of FBOs, which is what they're doing, right? They're providing aircraft, a place to receive these birds. That's about it.
Yeah.
As Jim always says, you've been to one FBO, you've been to one FBO. But the beauty is that we've been to hundreds and hundreds at this point.
Yeah.
And so we've seen how all of them are doing it. And X1 FBO is able to accommodate all of those different variances. And we've got a great knowledge base on how to leverage the tools against that vast array of ways of doing business to make the most out of all of those engagements with your customers.
Right.
And so this conference is an opportunity for us to share that information to a broad audience, again, of both customers and prospects. Like if somebody's looking at X1 FBO right now, there is not a better opportunity to give us a true evaluation than this conference. Our staff is going to be there. Our current customers are going to be there. You're going to be able to look under the hood at what we're doing from a technological perspective right now, as well as what we're looking to do in the future, where the solution is going, the add-ons to the products that you can use, like flight tracking or the X1 portal. There's lots of different things that your FBO might need that you don't necessarily know if you're just cruising at 30,000 feet. Right. These FBOs are busy, busy places. And it is hard to come up for air to focus on bettering your practice. So let's isolate some time. Let's protect some space in Miami to have that conversation and allow these personnel and our customers to squeeze the most out of the system that they possibly can. It's important. It's important that we give them the opportunity to really kick the tires on this thing and see what we're doing.
Yeah, that's really cool. And I know that there's going to be some speakers there too,
sure,
and some presentations. What are some of maybe the top speakers that are going to be there?
Yeah, so we've gotten an awesome group of sponsors. And the list is continuing to grow. Quick plug, events.x1fbo.com for all of the details on the show.
Okay.
Miami, April 10th through 11th. It's pretty much going to be hosted as far as the panels and all of the discussions at our headquarters, which is just by Biscayne Bay in South Miami. I know you've been around there.
Sure.
Beautiful area, especially in the spring. Anybody coming from a cold place, bring it.
Yeah.
It'll be good. But so as far as sponsors go, right now, some of the headlining sponsors we've got Paragon, we've got AEG, Everest, Ebis from the maintenance side will be there as well. We've got 1 Mile Up, Paragon, FBO partners, and again, that list continues to grow. Also, one of the headlining participants that we've got is NATA. Steve Berry is going to be giving a panel on the state of safety.
Okay.
Obviously, Jim Wiley is going to be talking a lot about the future of FBOs. We'll have our CTO and a lot of our CTO, Umberto Zulaga, talk about our technology, where we're headed, the future roadmap, which I think is always a cool thing to show prospects and customers. Like, where is this thing headed? We come from a school of thought where the development never stops. And we're always looking at that roadmap and listening to our customers and saying, like, hey, where are we headed? And I think it's really important that we give our customers the opportunity to drive that.
Sure.
And say, this is what we want, this is what we need.
Yeah.
So we can continue to develop or deliver value into the product on their behalf.
Right.
And so that's definitely front and center and front of mind for us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I know with Monica organizing this from your team, she's trying to, obviously, you want to get focused, bring a lot of value in these sessions, but also have a little bit of fun. What's the events look like for that week?
Yeah, thank God for her, by the way. She's keeping a lid on this thing and doing an awesome job. And speaking of her, she's going to be leading a panel on marketing within business aviation.
Okay.
She's got a great list of presenters that are going to be speaking with her. Again, see the website for all the details here, because if I start pretending that I have them memorized, I'm going to screw it up, right?
Yeah.
But as far as the after parties go, so essentially with the event, it's going to be, I think, 9 or 10 in the morning until 5 or 6 at night. Sessions sort of all throughout the day with breaks built in, breakfast and lunch is included. Okay. During the day, it's going to happen at our facility, at our headquarters, which is quite large, and certainly able to accommodate a large crew of people. And then I think night one, we've got a Havana Nights party that's going to be sort of a Cuban themed party in Miami. Okay. Should be awesome. Monica's
some making cigars, maybe.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A little rum.
Absolutely.
Nice.
You know it. I'll see you there. Yeah. So, and then night two, shoot, she's going to kill me. So night two, FBO Partners is sponsoring an AvGeek trivia at the, I think it's called the Black Point Marina, which is just south of our location.
Yeah, sure.
Beautiful
Great
location.
Spot.
Right there by Biscayne Bay. Just a lot of food, a lot of laughs, and there'll definitely be prizes for the winners of the trivia. So that should be really fun.
Okay.
And then sort of the culminating event on the last day is a cruise, a yacht cruise, if you will, around Miami. Okay. So that's optional. If anybody wants to participate in that, they can find out the details on the website and be there. Right.
Cool.
I'll be there. That should be awesome.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like an exciting event. It's cool to bring together all of these different groups of people, like the FBOs, the partners, the users of your platform, people who are interested in your platform, and really see what you guys are doing in the way of technology and streamlining some of the business processes, like in these different areas of the industry. So really cool. I'm looking forward to it. Again, maybe you could plug the website where everybody could get the details. And
events.x1fbo.com.
Cool.
Miami, April 10th through 13th, an FBO centric conference. Bring it.
Awesome.
Customers, prospects, vendors, partners, it will all be there. This should be an awesome event.
Awesome. Well, thanks for stopping by. Good to hear about everything, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yep, of course.